Well, for more, we can speak to our senior reporter, James André. James, you were at this press conference at the Elysee. What is Emmanuel Macron's real message here?
Well, his real message to Mali is, in a sense, you're on your own. And this press conference was also a show of force because you got to realize you had four people there. You had the head of the European Union, Charles Michel. You had the acting president of ECOWAS, who is also the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, and you had the president of Senegal, who is the president of the African Union, Macky Sall. So what you had was basically all the important regional organizations plus the European Union plus France telling Mali, we're out. This is it. You're by yourself. And I think this was very much the message, and it was very, there was an aim to convey it as a group, so it's a multilateral decision to step out. The other message was, we're not abandoning this fight against terrorism in the Sahel or in a broader, actually, region. France basically saying that these forces will be redeployed in neighboring countries, mainly in Niger, and also stating that it would take 4 to 6 months. But basically, from now on, this is it. The French army is going to be concentrating on moving out of Mali, closing down Gao base, for example, which is going to be a very difficult task, and basically operating from neighboring countries and letting Mali basically work by itself.
Yeah, noticeably absent were officials from Burkina Faso or Mali. Now, Emmanuel Macron also said that Mali's ruling junta has hidden aims or a sort of secret agenda. What did he mean by that?
Well, it was very clear in this press conference. He basically stated that the fact that for him, the ruling junta's secret agenda, you could read through the lines, is basically to stay in power at all cost. He said, for example, he was asked if this was a victory for Russia by a journalist. And basically he said, no, it's not a victory for Russia. He said, basically what we have here is a junta that has hired mercenaries. They have not created a bilateral relation, for example, with Russia and called on a third-party country to come in and help them. They have hired mercenaries, and the French president stated that, in his view, these mercenaries have been hired to protect the junta and not to protect the Malian people. And he said that there were questions as to how the financing of this operation was done. And he also said that all that was totally incompatible with what France stands for and wanted to do in the region. So a very strong attack against the junta, which, as we know, France and Mali have been at odds over this, with even the French Foreign Affairs Minister saying that this government was illegitimate and criticizing Mali harshly. But these were probably the toughest words we've heard as of yet from the French president when it comes to the junta in Mali.
Yeah, we'll have more on that in a second. James, you're recently back from Mali. How do you think people are going to react to this withdrawal there?
Honestly, I think the first reaction is probably going to be joy on the streets of Bamako. We've witnessed that with the team when we were there a couple of weeks ago. There is a very strong anti-French sentiment. We spoke to a lot of people there, people who are saying that basically what the junta has been saying and what the people on the streets have been, moving to say is that, in the view of a lot of observers there, France is not doing the job, is not fighting terrorism as it should, because its objective is, in fact, to stay in the long term. And the junta's been using that, saying that Mali needs to regain its sovereignty and to control the full extent of its territory. Now, obviously, this retreat of the French is going to be interpreted as a victory for the junta. The problem is also, other people were telling me, that basically a lot of people cannot speak freely anymore in Mali and feel compelled to go and to also state the same opinions, even though a lot of people are actually worried about what is going to happen to Mali in the near future. We went to the market also because people are starting to worry about that. Rising prices. The country is facing a blockade. Prices of food are rising. There is a real problem when it comes to construction materials, for example. It's very difficult to get cement, for example. So there is both worry for a part of the population, but there is also, and there will probably be, we'll probably see protests on the streets of people indeed appearing very happy about this move. Now, the big question is, what will the junta do with this? They're now completely isolated. They will be very probably running out of cash very soon to pay civil servants and security forces. Now, we'll have to see how the situation evolves on the ground. But short term, you can expect people to be quite happy in Mali.
All right, James. Thank you very much. James André, France 24 senior reporter.